So it looks like Maidstone United's takeover is well and truly underway. Of course, in recent years, many clubs across football have seen takeovers come to fruition, and Maidstone is just another club in the list. And hopefully for Maidstone, this is going to mean good things to come. If you have not seen the news on Maidstone United's socials in the last couple of days, then you will not have seen the fact that Alan Manchett, a long-time friend and fan of Maidstone United, has arisen as the potential new investor slash owner on the club's social media. In recent days, they did announce that potential investment was likely, and just yesterday, from when you'll be seeing this video, is when they did confirm that it was Alan Manchett. Of course, the main stand at the Gallagher Stadium is named the Manchett Facility Stand. Someone who's had a long-term investment in the club, of course, also has his branding on the club kits as well. Alan Manchett, as I said, is a very long-term fan and friend of the club, so this could mean very, very good things for Maidstone. You would hope that we are, of course, in good hands with Mr Manchett. So what does this mean for the club? Well, of course, it does mean the opportunity to invest, the opportunity to get new, potentially higher quality, more experienced National League or higher players into the club. It does mean that opportunity to stay in the National League is, of course, going to be a little bit more likely now if we can bring the right players in. It does mean that the ground will hopefully see some more investment in infrastructure. Of course, we do have the Riverside stand planning permission already. It would be lovely to see something like that be built within the next couple of years or so. Of course, it does also mean the potential to get a good managerial team in. Of course, George Elokobi is now the caretaker manager. It was also announced that Ryan Gordon, ex-Maidstone United coach, has returned to the club to support George Elokobi in this period. So, of course, Maidstone are in very good and familiar hands for the time being. The introduction of Alan Manchett into the picture as well, of course, can only bode well for Maidstone, one would hope. So, a little bit about Alan Manchett. What is there to know about him? Well, going back through the Maidstone archives on the website, countless times he has been referenced by Bill Williams, Terry Casey, as a very, very long-term friend and fan of Maidstone United, someone who, since grassroots days, has had a big passion for football, especially locally, and of course, being a Maidstone fan, it makes perfect sense for him to become even more invested in this club than he already is. So a few key things that you may not have picked up on, of course, some people will be familiar with this. Back in 2018 is when Alan Manchett did start to begin to sponsor the main stand at Maidstone. So of course about 5 years or so ago, and in the 2021/22 season, he did become the kit sponsor of Maidstone United as well, home and away. So you can see the progression over the last few years or so with Mr Manchett in terms of just working his way a little bit more into the club. Of course, clearly means a lot to him to be able to just put his brand to this club, and of course he's done that now in an even greater sense. So he is, of course, if you weren't aware, the director of the Manchett Facilities Group. It's a very, very large company, multi-million-pound company. It does have contracts in the UK and in Europe as well. Very, very good at what they do. So, of course, it's always good to see we have got a reputable source for this money. Like some clubs in the past have had owners come in with money, but with also very large debts, the ability to not quite cover themselves and what they're spending. So, as I mentioned in a previous video, we need to make sure that no matter who comes in, it needs to be sourced sustainably. It needs to be from someone that we are comfortable with, we're confident in, and someone who's going to be wise with the money that they do have. And it does seem that we've managed to secure that in Alan Manchett. So one last thing as well is a lot of people have been asking, is he, has he got some ancestry ties to a Saudi prince? Will he be spending the hundreds of millions that we've seen at Newcastle and Manchester City and things like that here at Maidstone United? Well, not quite. Of course, many people will be doing their Google searches in terms of trying to find out what it is that his net worth is. Unfortunately, net worth, whatever you may find online, is incredibly hard to calculate. It's also not a very good indicator of how much money someone actually has. Of course, net worth includes net assets, everything that this person may have. This includes property, staff, anything that can be tied to money in a financial sense, of course, is what contributes to net worth. So, someone may have 100 million net worth, they may only have a few million in the bank. So that is very likely what we've seen here with Mr Manchett. But a lot of people, as I said, are kind of wondering what sort of money is going into this deal. Well, again, very hard to tell. We'll never know the actual details of this, of course, but it does seem that a lot of money is going into this from someone who has already been invested in the club for a long time. So he must see the potential in the club, obviously, to have been invested in it before. He must know what his plan is for the future. Hakan did mention, as I said in one of my previous videos, that there was this 5-year plan in place. And for someone who's already been invested in the club for 5 or more years already, this is probably part of his 10-year or so plan to expand his business, but also give back to his club that he supports. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting rest of the season for sure. I can imagine, once this deal goes through, we're going to see a lot more brighter things from Maidstone. But also in that time, the rest of January, of course, it was spoken that around the start of Feb is when this deal may finally completely go through. But in that time, as someone who's already investing in the club, I can imagine we'll see investment already. We've just seen Cody Lyons-Foster leave the club as well. It has been mentioned that Jacob Mensah left a little while ago as well, which means, looking at the Reece Greenwich injury, the centre-back options we have at the moment are not fantastic. Of course, we've got Joe Lowell, who has suffered a lot with injury, so it's a bit hit and miss with him sometimes. We've got Yohan Zuma, who, of course, has not really been involved in football too much in the last couple of years. Did not have a fantastic debut against York. Got George Fowler, who's often deployed at right back. So we're going to need a few more reinforcements in those positions there. For me, that could be the start of things for Mr Manchett. So, like I say, it's going to be really, really interesting to see where this goes. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Maidstone are going to be able to try and turn things around. I've got every confidence that Ryan Gordon, George Edekobi, the team that's still working there behind the scenes, is going to be able to come good this season. I do think that, all things considered, I think we will stay up. It's going to be incredibly tough, but you've got to factor in this new managerial boost that's going to come when we get a new permanent person in. We've obviously got very familiar people behind the scenes now doing their thing, and I think that these players, like I said, the cuffs are off. New lease of life. Your opportunity now for the Maidstone players to go out there and really, really do something for the rest of this season, make a name for themselves. There's a lot of players in this team who want to be better than Maidstone, be better than the National League. Could they do that with Maidstone in years to come? We don't know. Could they do that by performing really well this season, earning themselves a move in the summer? We don't know, but like I say, it is really, really going to be exciting times for the rest of this season. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what result we might get against Notts County, of course, at the weekend in the trophy. Again, there could be a little bit of an upset there on the cards. Notts may feel a weak team. We're going to be really fired up for this one, and we're going to have a point to prove. So I'm really looking forward to it. As I've already said, I really hope you are as well. Stay tuned for more videos here on the channel. Go and check out a couple of the other videos I've posted lately for a bit more of a larger look, a holistic look, really. Every aspect of what's been going on at the club at the moment, to get my opinions on things. And of course, do leave your comments down below in that section there. So thank you all very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.